A pleasant day to everyone. So for this video, I will be reciting the collision regulation rules. So the collision regulation rules have a parts, and those parts consist of rules. So part A is general, part B steering and sailing rules. So in the part B, the rule 1 is application, rule 2 is responsibility, rule 3 are the general definitions. So next, part B, steering and sailing rules. So it have a section which is section 1, conduct of vessels in any condition of visibility. Rule number 4, continuation of rules. Rule number 4 is application. Rule number 5 is lookout. Rule number 6 is safe speed. Rule number 7 is risk of collision. Rule number 8 is action to avoid collision. Rule number 9 is narrow channels. Rule number 10 is traffic separation schemes. And the part B consists also section 2, which is conduct of vessel inside of one another. So continuation of rules. Rule number 11 is also an application. Rule number 12 is sailing vessels. Rule number 13 is overtaking. Rule number 14 is head-on situation. And rule number 15 is crossing situation. So now let's explain the rule number 15, which is crossing situation. So when two power-driven vessels are crossing, so it involves in the risk of collision. So it tells that if it is having on the sea, if it's having a crossing situation, so it has a big involvement in the risk of collision that had been occurred. So in a crossing situations, there have a lot of process to do to avoid the risk of collision in crossing on those vessels. So I am giving the example. So in this figure, we can see that it has a ship. So let's put a ship on the ship that the only one on the other side. So it should be altering on the starboard side, because if the ship will be altering on the starboard side, it can pass and clear the risk of collision. Because if in this situation, we can see if the ship will be going or altering to the port side, and as we can see, those vessels are very close to each other and fast approaching. So it would be better if the ship would be altering to his starboard side. So for me, it just depends. I can say that it would be depends on the situation. So now, then the next example. So if altering to port side to avoid collision, you should certainly do it early and make the alteration large as it already do. So as we can see in this figure, so an alteration should be large enough to make an alteration. So it should be large enough to pass and clear the risk of collision. And as we can see, by altering to the port side in this situation, so the other vessel would be happen that it would be there would be in your astern. There would be on the astern of your vessel. So it should be faster in altering, and put in mind that the risk of collision would be happen to have it clear and pass. So now, continuation to the rule. So rule number 16 is action by give way vessel. Rule number 17, action by stand on vessel. Rule number 18 is responsibilities between vessels. And now let's proceed to the section 3 in the part B. So section 3 in the part B is conduct of vessel in restricted visibility and consists a rule number 19, conduct of vessels in restricted visibility. So now let's proceed to part C, which is light and shapes. So rule number 20, continuation of the rule. So rule number 20 is application. Rule number 21 is definitions. Rule number 22 is visibility of lights. Rule number 23 is power-driven vessel underway. Rule number 24, towing and pushing. Rule number 25 is sailing vessels underway and under oars. Rule number 26 is fishing vessels. Rule number 27 is vessels not under command or restricted in their ability to maneuver. Rule number 28 is vessels constrained by their draught. Rule number 29 is pilot vessel. Rule number 30 is anchored vessel and vessels aground. Rule number 31 is zipline. So the part C, which starts to the rule number 20 is the rules that focuses on the lights and shape that a vessel should follow, especially at the night time, because it can have a very large in having a risk of collision at the sea. So this part, which is the part C in the collision regulation rules, is very important when working on a ship, especially to the crew that would be working on the deck as a deck officer. So now let's proceed to the part D, which is sound and light signals. So rule number 32 is definition. Rule number 33 is equipment for sound signals. Rule number 34 is maneuvering and warning signals. Rule number 35 is sound signals in restricted visibility. Rule number 36 is signal to attract attention. And rule 37 is distress signals. So this part, which is the part D, so it is also very important, the same as the part C, because the sound and light signals is very important. For example, the sound signals is very important, especially to the non-visibility area, because if there is no sound signals of having a zero visibility or not visible to the crew that will be assigned on the deck, it could have a very large risk of collision happen. Also the light signals also is very important, especially in the zero visibility at night, or yes, at night. So sound and light signals in combination is very important also. And the last rule, the rule 38, would be the exemptions. So that would be all rules in the collision regulations. The rule 1, number 1 to rule number 38. So that would be all, and thank you for watching everyone, and God bless.